This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hello and welcome to another edition of our Heartland 2018 coverage of the Obsessive Viewer Podcast, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. If it's your first time listening, the Obsessive Viewer is a podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show. It's a movie and TV podcast. I forgot that part of it. And we're presented by ObsessiveViewer.com, which is just the website that I started a handful of years ago. So you can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com, more of our podcasts at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts, and you can find our live event in Indianapolis at ShocktoberInIrvington.com, and you can follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer, where we also have a Facebook group that you can join. And, I think that about covers everything. Mm-hmm. So Tiny, you and I this is actually the second time in our podcasting careers that we've recorded in a car.
It is. It's the Obsessive Viewer Mobile Edition.
Right, exactly.
Yes. We're like field reporters.
We are. It does feel like that.
Or extremely poor people.
That is also true. We are actually living out of my car. Paige kicked Tiny out. Pizza kicked me out.
Nice.
So... Oh, man. Oh, God. Anyway, I just had a sudden thought that, because, first of all, at the top of this is, I think this is going to be episode 3 of our, what's hopefully going to be a 4-part series about Heartland 2018.
Nice.
Of course, Heartland Film Festival is Indianapolis's largest and longest-running film festival. They kind of have this, not motto or... creed, or they have this mantra that's like they bring out some of the more like moving pictures and like emotionally charged movies to the festival, and every year they put on a great festival, and most years I run out of PTO. Anyway, this year is their 27th year. You can find more information about Heartland at heartlandfilm.org. And, special shout out to everyone at Heartland. Greg, I believe his title is the Director of Film Programming. He always it's amazing. Have you met Greg?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay. Well, he's a great guy. He, it's funny, or it's not funny, but it's indicative of how great, the film festival is, because I've been hitting the pavement doing a lot of press junkets and red carpets and everything for the festival, and one of my go-to questions is to ask the filmmakers, how do you feel about Heartland, and so many of them is oh, Greg is great.
Nice, because
Greg goes to different film festivals and he does a lot of networking and stuff and brings the films here, so he always it's astonishing. So congrats to Greg for all of his success. And nice. That's Greg Sorvig. And also to John and Emily from the kind of marketing, I guess, or PR department, for putting together the press passes for us and everything.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yes. So, Tiny, how I've talked a lot.
Yeah. We noticed.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
The film festival, you haven't had a chance to really check out much of it, right?
I haven't.
Yeah. Me neither, as much as I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen a lot, if that makes sense.
Right.
Do you want to give us a rundown of some stuff about Heartland?
I saw a movie tonight.
Nice.
No, I really have, it's been pitiful this year, my participation in the festival, but I saw a movie tonight, and I'm hoping to see at least one or two more in the theater and everything. One other one that I'm really interested in is, what was it called? The one about the people who worked with the Radium.
Radium Girls.
Radium Girls, thank you.
Yeah.
Like that looks really good.
Okay, so funny story. We actually covered this in episode 252. Me and Kirsten were like, that's one of the movies that Kirsten's really excited to see. We went to the theater, or we planned on getting tickets on Saturday to see it, but the screening actually sold out.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
well, that's a good problem.
It really is. Oh yeah. But yeah, so we saw the Bikes of Wrath instead. But I'm really excited to see that one as well. I'm not going to be able to see it during the festival either.
Darn.
Yeah, so hopefully it gets some distribution and like pops up on Netflix or something.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the ones that's really the one that stuck out for me that I really want to see. So yeah,
Any others or anything?
No, I need to look through the brochure a little more and really familiarize myself with the selection. But
sure.
I haven't had a chance to look through it very well yet. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. Okay, so Heartland is every year in October. It always falls pretty much the date that we have for Shocktober in Irvington every year is essentially the opening night of Heartland Film Festival. So we've got that in the lead up to Heartland. We have Shocktober in Irvington going on, and then I mean it's a 10-day festival and everything, and it's in October. And like I said, I kind of ran out of PTO at work, so
yeah.
I would love to have been able to take like 2 days off. I originally planned on taking the Monday and Friday of the festival off so I could just spend the day at the theater, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah. This is also the same month as my wedding anniversary is in October as well, so
yeah.
It's a huge month.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, so thank you for doing Shocktober in Irvington.
No, of course. That was fun as hell.
Oh yeah. We'll have a separate 255 will be Shocktober in Irvington, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's awesome because that was the weekend of your first year wedding anniversary. Not only did you do Shocktober in Irvington and everything, but your wife Paige helped with the ticket sales and stuff. So,
thankfully it was the weekend before our anniversary.
Right.
But still, yeah.
Yeah. That was technically the weekend of, right?
No, because the Shocktober was the 6th, right?
No. This year.
This year?
Yeah, this year was the 12th.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Shit, yeah, that's right.
I was
thinking backwards. Yeah, it was. Shocktober was the 2 nights before our wedding anniversry. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you mixed up the date for Shocktober and not the date of your wedding anniversary.
Yes, exactly. Although it would have been weird to show up, a week early to Shocktober.
Right. But yeah, so, and it's funny because this year, so a peek behind the curtain, last year, we didn't really do anything for Heartland as far as coverage goes because we had Shocktober in Irvington, even though it was a week before when we usually have it. A peek behind the curtain, Shocktober in Irvington last year was a miracle because we had so many things just kind of go wrong at the last minute, and so I was supremely stressed out.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, the first week of Heartland Film Festival was your wedding weekend. And just by that time, like I for one I was too exhausted to really do anything with Heartland. So I kind of made a conscious effort this year to do as much as I can with the absence of PTO. And I'm very happy with the coverage that we've been able to give.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because you've got wedding anniversary stuff, and like this next weekend you guys are going on a trip coming up, so you're not going to be able to do any of the last couple days
right
of Heartland. And then I, as I've said like 4 or 5 times so far, ran out of PTO, so I have to work my day job every day, and then go to the theater. Like tomorrow I'm going to see 2 films right after work. And then this year was the first year that Kirsten is kind of on board with the podcast and doing the media thing.
Yeah.
And like she and I always go see movies, but like, and I was like, yeah, we have these press passes. We can go see movies and everything during the week whenever you want. And then her show, Yellow Heat, that's opening November, it's performing November 3rd. they are in rehearsals Monday through Friday in the lead up to it. So she's like, she can't, like, weekends she's good, but during the week she can't see anything. So, so I'm proud with the coverage we've been able to provide, given the circumstances of all three of the people that have press passes.
No kidding.
Having such conflicting schedules.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy that you and I were able to see a film today, and that we're going to be able to review it. Before we do that, though, I do want to go ahead and throw it to the press interviews and everything that I've done. So, another peek behind the curtain. This episode is this segment of the episode is being recorded Thursday night. My days are all mixed up, Tiny.
Thursday night.
Thursday night, October 18th.
Yeah.
2018.
It is.
Yeah. And so I have, at this point, last night I did a red carpet, and then I think Saturday before the awards party, there's going to be another red carpet. So essentially, if all goes as planned, this series of recordings you guys are going to hear is the red carpet interviews that I conducted throughout the tail end of Heartland Film Festival. And so after those recordings, we'll get into a review of a film that we saw at Heartland tonight, the Samuel Project. If you are wanting to skip the interviews or get right to the review, check out the show notes in this episode. It should be at obsessiveviewer.com/OV253. Or just the show notes section of your podcast app. And real quick, before we go to the interviews, I just want to give a very, very grateful shout out to Tony Troxel of Geeking in Indiana and the Indiana Geeking Podcast for graciously loaning us his Tascam DR40 recorder that I have kind of fallen in love with, and I'm probably never going to give it back to him.
No, it is pretty nifty.
It is amazing, and like as we're sitting here recording, I'm thinking like my dream, I don't know if I want to really say this, but like my dream, if I were independently wealthy and didn't have like, you know, obligations, I would go on like a cross country road trip and go to as many like independently run, independently owned, antique, even like theaters, and just like see a movie, talk about it, and interview the people that own the theater, and kind of do like that kind of project. That's like my dream project.
That's the dream, man.
And this would be perfect for that.
It would be.
So someone give me like $1 million.
Probably need more than $1 million to do that.
I was thinking maybe not. I could probably do it with like
right.
I would say maybe 50,000.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's wow.
Anyway, so here are the press recordings from a couple of red carpet events at Heartland International Film Festival 2018 in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I'm here with Kendall Goldberg and John Heater from When Jeff Tried to Save the World. And why don't you guys tell me a little bit about the film and, how your experience has been with Heartland, as brief as it may be so far.
Yes, very brief. We literally got here a few hours ago and are only here for like 24 hours, but it's been great so far. The film is about the manager of a bowling alley who tries to save it from going out of business. And John plays Jeff, the manager of that bowling alley. If John wants to say anything about...
It's about a guy named Jeff, and he tries to save a world. You got to figure out what that world is. It's a nice coming-of-age story for a 40-year-old guy. No, a 30-year-old guy. Yeah, and in real life. It's great. It's just a nice story about a guy who is creating a family in his own world and trying to save this bowling alley.
Yeah, I actually got a chance to see a screener of it last night. So, I really liked it. And, specifically, John, your performance, it felt very kind of nuanced. Like, there's a lot to the character with him having kind of anxiety and having some kind of, interpersonal issues, I would say. How did you get into the role for that? Like, did you have like a process to get into the performance?
I just, not per se. I mean, you work on everything. We did a short film first a year earlier, so that kind of helped get already playing around with that character. And then, when we shot the feature, it really was, those kind of things. As an actor, you just kind of set yourself into that character. You figure out what would it be like. For me, at least, it's easy once I get into a costume and I get on location and I've got dialogue and I've got others, co-actors to act opposite from other characters. Then it really helps me get into character. And
Nice. Well done. I really liked your performance and I really enjoyed the film. And Kendall, am I correct in saying this is your first feature?
That's correct. Nice. Feature film debut. Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations. Can you tell me about the experience of directing your first feature film?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was about 5.5 years in the making. It's something that I started with the concept of just wanting to make a movie in a bowling alley, and it obviously snowballed and became a little bigger than that. It was originally supposed to be shot in LA just because that's where I was at the time. I was going to school there. And then I went home for like a winter break, I think, to Chicago, because I'm from Chicago, and I found a bowling alley there that ended up being the perfect place, and we decided to make it there. So, along the way, there were like a lot of obstacles to overcome to get the financing, to get the means that we needed to make the movie. One of those was what John mentioned, the short that we made, the short film version of the film, and that was sort of like a great guideline almost. Is like I got to work with a lot of the people who ended up being in the feature. We worked at the same location, the same bowling alley, a lot of the same crew. So it was kind of a nice, this is a little taste of what it's going to be like. And then the following summer, we had what we needed to make the feature, and that was it.
Nice. And did the story or characters evolve in the transition from going from a short film to a feature? Like, how did the writing work out for you?
Definitely, yeah. We were able to take my writing partner, Rachel Borgo, and I took the short and watched it over and over and over and realized this works, this doesn't. So again, it was like a nice guideline of here's what can be improved, for the feature film version, and we can do this bigger and better. So we did take the feature then and did some rewrites after the short, and yeah, I think it was just all about how can we make this the best it can possibly be.
Perfect. Well, the film is great, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because they're actually screening it right now. I think you're due for a Q&A. But yeah, thank you guys so much for chatting with me. And where can people find When Jeff Tried to Save the World online, like social media presence and everything?
Yeah, so we're on social media at When Jeff Movie on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then the movie will be out on all the platforms, and iTunes included, early December, the first week of December.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much, and congratulations on the film, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and do that. Hi, my name's Matt. I'm from the Obsessive Viewer, and would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Jay Curtis Miller, and I was the cinematographer for Palace.
Oh, Palace! I actually watched a screener of that yesterday. I really enjoyed it. Like, what was the experience like making the film, and what was the experience like?
Well, it was a small crew, and it was just me and a bunch of college friends. So, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at it.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, so it was us and a bunch of college friends, and we set out to make a little low budget movie, and it was really exhausting. I lost 5 pounds, and I was eating like crap. But just to tell you the physical toll that it took, but obviously it came out rewarding being here at Heartland. So
that's fantastic. And is this the first film festival you've been at for the film? Or okay, great. How's your experience been? And what was the experience like filming in Indiana?
Well, I've been making shorts in Indiana for the past 4 or 5 years, having attended Taylor University. So I'm pretty used to the locales and all that stuff. So I think the best way to cinematically film Indiana is just to show it how it is, and that's what I feel like I've accomplished with Palace. So
nice, and the film kind of goes all over the state a little bit. There's some shots from Indianapolis and from Bloomington and everything. Did you have any not troubles, but how was it kind of doing the cinematography for each location?
we approached each scene as if it was one movie, so we never wanted to change the lighting at all or like just the composition. We wanted to keep it neutral throughout the whole film, just to connect every character, even though we have 3 pretty different characters that live all around Indiana. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. And, congratulations on the film. Is there any social media presence for Palace or for your work?
You can follow me at my full name, J. Curtis Miller, on like Instagram. I'm on there, and Palace Movie. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations, and best of luck with the rest of the festival and with the rest of the festival run for it and everything. Yeah. Thank you.
Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Yep, that's me. And hi, how you doing? And would you mind introducing yourself and telling us the film?
My name's Joe Martin Rickey, and I play the role of Chuck in the film Palace, which premiered here Sunday, and we just had our second showing here this evening.
Nice. Well, congratulations on the film. I actually got a chance to see it yesterday in the screener. And, just, first of all, congratulations and well done. Like, your performance is really great. Like, it kind of, there's a scene where you're first introducing yourself to the college kids that I was just like,
that's crazy.
It's such a great scene. I loved it. Yeah. So,
if you want me to talk about that, I will.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Well, I saw one of Andrew's other films that I was not in, a short film he made and he said it in like 1959. And it was the kids were all kind of beat poets, Ginsberg, Kerouac, and stuff like that. And he had a monologue that was off the charts weird, where he just talked for 3 or 4 minutes. It was beautiful. It sort of made sense, but not exactly. And then when I read this one, and when I saw that, I praised him. I gave him all kinds of positive vibes about it. I said, I love that monologue. I just love it, So then when he wrote this part, he gave me one of those like just sort of slightly disassociated, crazed, slightly drunk, monologues. Yeah.
How did you kind of acclimate to the role and everything? Because it's a well-drawn character. There's many different facets to the character, and how did you kind of juggle that through the performance?
The truth is that there's a lot of me in Chuck, so there's a lot of my life. I mean, I have 2 daughters. He has 2 daughters, although I'm not estranged from my 2 daughters. I'm divorced, and Chuck is probably divorced, and his wife has died. It's not clear of that. There's stuff we don't know. And I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've had a heart attack. So there you go. A lot of the things. So there's that. But part of it too was obviously direction helps, and living with the part. And I just felt we shot my part really in a crunchy 4 or 5 days. Like it was just really packed together because that was the way we're making a film on a small budget, and I was working around my spring break. So I had to work. I'm a college prof. I had to work all spring break. On this, and I was exhausted. And some of the scenes, I have these big bags under my eyes, and I'm not sure that was makeup. I think I was just a late night shoot, come back at 8 the next morning and start shooting again. Like I think the heart attack scene was after a really, really, really long day of shooting. And the hospital scene was filmed on Good Friday, which we thought was really, really somehow fitting and emotional. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And can you speak to like filming in Indiana and everything? Because that's kind of a big thing. The film scene in Indiana is it's growing, but there's not like any tax incentives or anything. Like, how do you feel about the production being in Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, Indiana. Let me just start in a way that sounds silly. My brother and sister were here for the premiere on Sunday. They came from Texas. I love Texas. That's where I'm from. But they were just in awe. Of course, it's October, and it was clear. So we had a clear October, sunny fall day, 40 degree, like Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was. And they were in awe of the beauty. And I've lived here 20 years, more than 20, and I think it's extremely beautiful. The seasons, I love the cornfields of gold. I love the stubble, which we're getting now. And so in this film, as you know, you've seen it, lovingly renders the Indiana landscape, the the cities to some degree, the towns to some degree even run down and broken down, but also beautiful old courthouses, and the people, and with all their warts and all their problems. But I thought, and I was a little worried when I read the first script, and I thought what we were doing here that was going to kind of be yet another, these simple-minded Indiana Hoosiers, but no, it wasn't that at all.
No.
It was a beautiful film about Indiana, and I'd like to see more of it. Obviously, we have some great films set in Indiana, but I don't think they're filmed in Indiana. My daughter lives in Atlanta, where they film Stranger Things, which is set which is set in Indiana.
Yep.
But they film it in Georgia.
Oh yeah, that's
because she sometimes has the cast come into her restaurant where she works. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's great for her, but I wish, hopefully someday.
Hopefully we'll get more.
Yeah. And for those listening, Film Indiana is a great organization that's kind of going for that and everything. And well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and congratulations on the film. Is there anything else coming up for the film or anything?
I think just we have one more showing, and that's Saturday, and then I think it's going to open in Fort Lauderdale, which is where one county film, which is the ultimate, producer, is headquartered, because that's where. There's a theatrical company down there that Andrew's been part of, and so I think that's going to be in December. And I think we'll be up in. Hopefully, we're going to be up in Fort Wayne at Cinema Center, which is a beautiful Indiana, really holy place of film. Cinema Center, Fort Wayne, shows a lot of indie films. I think that's going to be in the new year. Other than that, he's just entering in a lot of festivals, and we're going to see what happens.
Perfect. Well, yeah, no problem. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Matt, for what you're doing. Yeah.
No problem. My pleasure. And thank you, and have a great one. Hello, I'm from the Obsessive Viewer. I've already spoken to you. Doing well, yeah. How are you guys?
We're doing great. So, again, I'm Julie Simone. I'm the director of Fiddlin and one of the writers, along with my sister Vicki Vlasic, who's not here, and along with me,
I'm Lynn Levy. I'm from Miami. I'm an an associate producer.
Nice. And now, so the episode where I interviewed you guys before already went up. So if you wouldn't mind just telling just a quick elevator pitch of the movie here, and then I can have some follow-up questions.
Okay, yeah. So Fiddlin is a film about generations passing the music down. Kids are walking around carrying instruments instead of phones. It's an uplifting movie. It's fun. It's inspiring. It's for all ages. At our screening yesterday, a grandmother and her granddaughter came up and said, "We love this movie. I want my daughter to see it." The grandmother saying this about her daughter, and so it's a film for all ages. That's my elevator pitch.
That's fantastic. And I'm sorry, it was Lynn Levy. Yes. Can you tell me about your experience with the production and everything?
Yes, I'm not from the film background, but I was lucky enough to be invited to be part of this Fiddlin experience, and it was extremely interesting for me to sit in the editing bay and watch that process together with being in the studio with the composer who did the score. And it was just astounding, the talent and the work that went into doing something like this. So I have a whole new respect for filmmakers and the whole process.
Nice, that's fantastic. And does it? Do you think you're going to go into more filmmaking stuff, or was this like a...
So, I hope so. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself after this.
It's very exciting.
Oh, I can only imagine. And especially a film as uplifting and just with such a kindness to it as this one. It's got to be so rewarding, even more so. All the hard work, I'm sure, pays off really well. So how's your experience been with Heartland since we last spoke?
Yeah. It just keeps getting better. I mean, I just can't believe the generosity of the people here. The staff is amazing. The volunteers are incredible. We've made really great friends just driving around with some of the volunteers, and we get to meet people like you. And so, I mean, that doesn't hurt. I mean, it's really a great time and one of the best festivals that we've been to.
That is fantastic. And where can people find Fiddlin online? Any social media presence or anything?
Yes, we're fiddlinmovie.com, and you can go to our Facebook page Fiddlin, and
we have some
an Instagram Fiddlin.
And there are some festivals coming up that if people are in that area, try to come by and see it. It's so worth it. It's a beautiful film.
Yeah, if you miss it in Heartland, just check us out.
Awesome. Well, congratulations once again. It's been a pleasure speaking to you again, and pleasure meeting you. And hope you guys have the best of luck going forward. And congratulations once again.
Thanks, Matt. It was great seeing you again.
Great seeing you too. Hello, my name's Matt from The Obsessive Viewer. How are you doing? Could you introduce yourself and tell us about your film?
Yeah, so my name is Nathan Pfaff, and I'm the director and producer for the feature documentary Film School Africa.
Nice. That's one of the ones that I was looking forward to checking out. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. It looks like a very engaging documentary. Can you tell us a little bit about the subject and the film?
Yeah, absolutely. So the documentary is about a friend of mine that started a film school in the Cape Town area of South Africa. And she kind of is teaching youth from more underprivileged areas film skills, originally intended to give them employment opportunities, but she found out that in doing the projects, the students actually were kind of doing a form of art therapy, and the projects were a way for them to process through events from their lives. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Nice. It looks like a very just inspirational documentary, really. Can you? What was the experience like creating it, and like how much film did you have? Like how much material, and where did you? When you set out to do it, did you have like kind of the narrative in mind, or did it kind of come together as the project evolved?
Yeah, well, those are quite a few different questions, so I'll try to remember to answer them all. So I went and I filmed for about 3 months, one of the school terms for the students, and it was just by myself, and I just filmed it on my Canon DSLR and my phone and a GoPro, and that's basically it. So that goes to show you that story is really the most important thing, and all the technical aspects can, fall behind that. But I forget the next question.
Oh, yeah. How much like footage did you have, and then did the story kind of come together in the editing?
Yeah, so I ended up shooting, again, I shot for 3 months, but because it was just me, like single camera, I think I had about like 2 terabytes of footage to work with. And I don't know how many hours that is.
Sure.
But I knew that I could go and kind of touch on Katie's story specifically in starting this film school, and then also the art therapy side of things. What I didn't know was the students, because I hadn't met them yet. So my film actually follows 4 main students and kind of their transformation through one of these school terms, and I didn't know how that would unfold because I hadn't met them at the time. But I knew that regardless, when I went, I could touch on a few core themes, so I knew those going in. But yeah.
And what's the experience like taking the film to film festivals? Is this the first one? Has it had a festival run? And how's the experience been with Heartland? I know that's another like multiple questions, but how's the festival circuit been?
Yeah, no, it's been great. So Heartland is actually our 7th, and we have one last one coming up in February. But Heartland's been amazing. It's been super well organized, and everybody's been very friendly and accommodating. And I love Heartland's mission of just like positive, uplifting films, because that's kind of my audience as well. So I'm super honored and grateful to be here because I think kind of those visions align. But yeah, I would recommend Heartland to anybody. So
perfect. Well, that's great, and congratulations on the film. And what festival is it going to be at in February?
It's in Rhode Island at the Providence Children's Film Festival is the last one.
Perfect. Well, congratulations once again. Where can people find your work and the film, like social media presence and everything?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. FSA Doc is the handle, but then there's also the filmschoolafrica.org website that they can find out more about the film school itself, and then they also have a documentary tab for the film to kind of follow what happens with the film. So
perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations, and best of luck going forward. Thank you. Hello. Hi. I'm Matt from the Obsessive Viewer podcast. How are you doing?
Nice to be with you this evening.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure. So, yeah, can you tell me about
the story of my life? And the film is called Live the Stream, and it's about. They followed me from childhood through my present time at 89 years old. And so I've had a very busy life. I was the instructor at Penn State University, or the professor for the angling fly fishing program at Penn State University. I was also an assistant wrestling coach. I wrestled for Penn State many years ago. and I have a lot of blue and white in my blood. But anyhow, this is about my drive to promote this great sport, but also relative to the environment. And I'm working hard to save streams and make people aware of our environment. I work with the wounded veterans and in many aspects. And so this is all within this film, and it's a pretty nice trip. Yes.
Nice. That's great. Now, is this your first time at Heartland Film Festival, or have you been on the festival circuit with the film?
I have been with the Indianapolis Fly Fishers here 20 years ago. I also did a fly fishing show here a few years ago out in what do they call it? The out of town with the what is it?
Shot in the Appalachian Mountains.
I don't know what they call it out of town, but that's where they held the event anyhow. But anyhow, I've been in and out of Indianapolis different times. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And how did you feel? Like, was it kind of strange having a movie like created about you and what you do? Or
yes, it was very exciting, and I was so honored that they chose me as their subject, and it's been a great trip. I've had a lot of experience in this game. I've been with the United States Fly Fishing World Championship team in Finland and Wales and Ireland and Italy, and 2 years ago in Portugal. So in Portugal we took the bronze medal. So yeah, so I've been there. I've done that, and so. And I'm working with the U.S. youth team to getting them ready for the World Championships too. So yeah, so it's been a great run.
Nice. Well, that's fantastic, and congratulations, and best of luck going forward. Again, that film is called Live the Stream, and yeah, it's playing here at Heartland. Thank you so much for your time, and hope you have a great rest of the festival. Thank you. Okay, hello. And you guys are from Live the Stream as well? Yeah. Okay, perfect. And would you mind introducing yourselves?
Sure, I'm Megan Bell.
Lucas Bell.
Well, nice to meet you guys. And can you tell me about the process of making this film and then your experience with Heartland? Have you ever been here before? Or?
Yeah, it's our first time.
Yeah, this is our first time at Heartland. We shot Live the Stream over 3 years with Joe Humphreys. And we literally just finished it, maybe a year ago and after edit, but it's been a long process, and we're glad to be here.
Very nice, and I haven't had a chance to see the film yet, but Joe seems like a very lovely guy, and filming it over the course of a few years, he seems like a very animated person, so that must have been a lot of footage to kind of sift through and create a documentary from. Can you speak to that experience and the process of making the film?
Yeah, definitely. We had how many terabytes of footage?
Like 26 terabytes. 26
terabytes of footage.
Oh, wow.
So, because when you start filming with Joe, we thought that we would film for maybe 6 months, and then it turned into 3 years. Because
he was always thinking of new things to do, new places to go fish.
Always going somewhere. He always has some clinic to teach, or he's always volunteering somewhere, or flying internationally for fly fishing competitions, and he just keeps going and going at his age. So
you forget really quickly that he's almost 90 years old.
He said it, and I kind of did a double take when he said his age. I was like, he looks amazing. It's incredible. Like, I hope I have that much energy when I'm his age.
Oh yeah.
What attracted you to him as a subject for the film, and how did the project come about?
Well, yeah, I met Joe when I was in college. I did a student documentary about the angling program at Penn State. He was a teacher there, and I met him, in 2002. And then 10 years later, we were at a fly fishing show, and I ran into him again when I told him that my wife and I have a production company, and we wanted to do a documentary, and we wanted him to be the subject. So he was obviously super excited about it, and we started filming that following spring, and now we're here, which is awesome.
That's fantastic. And how has it been? what is this on the? What is Heartland on the stop of the festival run and everything? Has it been to other festivals? Do you have any coming up?
Yeah, so we've been at Breckenridge, Chagrin, and now here. So after Heartland, we are heading to Reading Film Festival, and then...
Yeah, there's a couple other ones we're still waiting to hear back on, but this is, we're probably getting near the end of it, but it's been awesome, and this one has been fantastic, so it's a good one to go out on. And then we'll be heading back to Pennsylvania for Reading, which is his home state, and there's a lot of people in Pennsylvania that want to see his documentary, so it should be a good crowd there too, so...
It's been great.
Yeah, and we have one more screening tomorrow at AMC Castle, or at Traders Point at 3:00. So, but yeah, it's been awesome. So
perfect. And what was the name of the production company, and where can we find your guys' work?
Yeah, but sure. So our company is called Nomadic Studio, and we're based out of the DC area. Yeah, so you can see our work. I mean, we work in TV, so most of our work is all,
a lot of
spots
branding, animation,
and
motion design and stuff. So this is our first independent doc, and so it's a lot of hard work, but it's been well worth it. So
nice. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the festival and rest of the run, and best of luck going forward. Yeah, no problem. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Hi, I'm Matt from the Obsessive Viewer podcast, or a podcast based out of Indianapolis. Yep, and let's see, your name is Josh Reedford, and David McCracken from Bullitt County. I actually saw the film Saturday, and I really enjoyed it. It was really great. And I'm very excited to talk to you guys, especially being from Indianapolis and knowing that you guys filmed it in Indiana, and it has ties to Indiana. Can you tell me about kind of the process of making it? Also, introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the film as well.
I'm David McCracken. I'm the writer, director, actor of Bullitt County.
And I'm Josh Reedford. I'm the producer. I can tackle what the movie's about. It's an action thriller that's set in the 1970s about four friends that get together after 10 years for a bachelor party on the Bluegrass Bourbon Trail in Kentucky, and their plan is to go visit a bunch of bourbon distilleries. And things kind of take a turn when they hear about this legend of buried Prohibition money that's buried somewhere out in Bullitt County, Kentucky, and they go off in search of it and start to turn against each other, and kind of all hell breaks loose, as is what happens when there's buried treasure and greed involved and that kind of thing.
Right, absolutely. And one of the things that kind of struck me about it was that it takes some very interesting turns, and it goes down some very dark paths. And I thought that just in the general style of it, the directing and everything was very... It really went into it. You guys really went for it. As far as the darkness, and there are shots where character is having kind of a little bit of a mental break, that it's very the production value is really great. So I guess I don't really have a question for that. Just congratulations. That was awesome. Yeah. Can you tell me about just filming the movie and about the production?
Well, it was about 30 days, 26 on, 4 off, and everybody was doing multiple jobs all at once and working really hard. It was a passion project for basically everybody, almost every department head. It was their first feature as that department head, and so it was a labor of love for a lot of people. So when somebody loves something that they want that they're making, they'll work way harder on it than just for a paycheck, which nobody got much of on this one. And so yeah, it was just really sleepless nights. It was cold weather. It was dark woods in the middle of the night. It was all the things you don't want to film in, and everybody just kind of stepped up and worked hard, and it's all visible on screen.
Nice. And one thing that kind of struck me about it is with independent films like this, It seems a little bit like adding more challenges to it by making it a period piece. Did you have any was it a conscious effort to make it a period piece? And again, I don't really have a question other than that. Just that it looked really good and felt very authentic to the time.
I would say for our part, the period piece stuff was actually easier. It seems like it's harder, but what it does is actually it frees you of cell phones, it frees you of technology, of brand names, and so you're more able to make up brand names that people will just buy into because they're so old, maybe they'd never heard of it before or something like that. And so wardrobe is not a problem. It's more about just everybody, all the departments being conscious of the period, and whenever you're shooting, making sure that, say, there's not a thermostat in the corner or something. So a lot of it was about subtraction, but I would say the period piece didn't really add much to the budget at all. If anything, it probably made it a little cheaper because we didn't have to deal with cell phones and things like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. And you guys filmed it. It was filmed in Indiana, correct? And can you speak about just the experience of filming in Indiana? Are you guys from Indiana? I think I read from Evansville. Yeah. Can you speak to the experience of filming in Indiana? And
Sure. We wanted to set it in Indiana because, again, we're from Evansville, and part of it was we just are familiar with the area. So we were kind of writing it knowing the places that we could shoot. There is kind of that mantra, especially in independent film, which is write to what you know you have. And so we knew, setting in the small town of New Harmony, we knew that, again, the period piece, it fit because it just looks like it could be in the 70s. We knew that we wanted to use a farmhouse, and so we knew where that was. We knew we wanted to shoot in the woods. Like, those are very easy to find. So everything was kind of very intentional because we knew the resources that we had. And then, as we were saying earlier, it was very much a labor of love with people. It was everyone in the community kind of came together to make the film happen. And it's just there was a lot of positivities to shooting here, and again, like David said, it was everyone that we brought in from California to work on it. Everyone was really into the project, regardless of how big or small their paycheck may have been. But what was great about it is it became kind of a family to where literally everyone on the cast and crew were sleeping at our parents' houses that were like the houses that we grew up in. So it really. I don't think we could make another movie like this ever again, but for the time and place, it absolutely worked.
That's fantastic. And David, with the performance and actually performing in the film as well as writing and directing it and wearing so many different hats, did you how did you balance that with the overall production?
Just a lot of preparation, just a lot of planning, making sure that all the actors could rehearse and had time to rehearse so that on the day of production we just all were on the same page, and I could just basically treat everybody like machines and just say louder, softer, more intense, and so it was a lot of that. It was a lot of planning with the director of photography, the sound guy, the costume, just everybody was on the same page. So we did so much preparation so that whenever I was being pulled in a lot of different directions during the making of it, I would never feel like I was being spread too thin and compromising any of those jobs, because everybody else was always very willing to step in and keep an eye on things of their specific department, and it had all been researched before and prepared. And yeah.
Nice. And which was your favorite hat to wear for it? Directing, writing, acting? Which one was your favorite part of the process?
I hate to say it, but they're all different. I would say it feels like, because writing is so alone and directing is so involved with everybody, and acting feels somewhere in between. And I would say that directing is the most nerve-wracking because you have a lot of problems that are thrown at you very quickly, and you're also dealing with a lot of elements. Writing, I think, is the hardest because it is so insular, and I think acting's the easiest for me. But it does have its different challenges. It's more about just hoping that you've cast everything very well so that the other actors know where you're at, you know where they're at, and then you could, So honestly, the hardest part about that was memorizing the lines, which was always last minute. But
nice. And I've got to ask, Bullitt County, is it named after the Stephen Queen movie, or is that just named after the I think there's a county in like Kentucky. The actual county. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, where can people find you guys online and the film online, or the social media presence of it?
Well, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's at Mr. Pictures Film. That's our production company, and you can catch the film obviously here at Heartland Film Festival, or it opens in theaters on October 26th in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, Louisville, Cincinnati, and Evansville. And then after that, it'll be on VOD and DVD in February.
Perfect. Well, congratulations, guys, on the film. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and it definitely goes to some very interesting and dark places that I was not prepared for, and it's going to kind of stick with me for a while. So congratulations, and best of luck with everything going forward. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Matt from the Obsessive Era. I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So you're Autumn McAlpin, writer, director, producer for Miss Arizona. And can you tell us a little bit about the film and your experience with Heartland so far?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited to be here. Miss Arizona is a feature film that follows a former pageant queen on an all-night adventure with 4 women she meets at a women's shelter. So it's an uplifting story about women coming together, overcoming abuse in various forms. And so we're very excited to be here. I know Heartland's all about films that tell real stories and that make you feel good. I've actually had a film here before, 3 years ago. And
what was it?
It was Waffle Street.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, from Ian and Nesham Nelms. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we were able to bring James Lafferty, our star, here 3 years ago. And I have such good memories of this place. Everyone is so nice here. I love Greg. It's great to work with him again. And I was really excited to come back.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And I'm really excited because Miss Arizona is one of the films that I'm going to be seeing, I think, Friday. I'm going to see it. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. And, what was the experience like creating it? Where did the inspiration come? And how was the production?
So it was inspired by an experience I had volunteering at a women's shelter. I went in and was asked to teach a life skills class and thought I knew a lot about how to survive the real world. And I went in and realized that these women who'd really been through some really hard situations knew a lot more about the real world than I did. And so I learned a lot. And these women stayed with me. They're real people, but they also are characters that I thought we could broaden their stories and tell them to others. So many women are affected by domestic violence. 1 in 4 women experiences it directly, and so many women choose to stay in violent situations because of fear of losing their children or their security. And so our film touches on those tough topics, but it also is a comedy. I feel like we laugh through our pain, and it naturally became a comedy because my actors were so talented and they were willing to go there to really make you feel the feels, but also have some fun. So
that's great. And it sounds like the subject matter it's very important, obviously, especially in our current cultural climate and everything. So it's I just commend you for making the film because it's great to kind of have that voice out there. What would you say were the kind of main themes and things that you wanted to communicate in the film?
Well, I actually wrote the film in the fall of November. It was November 2016. It was during the election, and the women were being portrayed so negatively on media and online, and I was really kind of upset by some of the things I saw. And there was a song that became the unofficial song of the Women's March. It's called Quiet, and it's about that if you've been injured or abused, not to be quiet, to speak out, and it's by an artist named Milk. And I wrote this film in 3 weeks. I wrote it very fast, and that song was like the soundtrack playing when I wrote that film. It gave me the courage to speak out for these women that I had met. And I was so excited when the artist agreed to let us have the song in our film. And so our film is very music driven, actually. We have an amazing soundtrack. In fact, this is exciting. Our score was nominated yesterday as one of the top 5 scores for Hollywood Music and Media Awards. So we're super excited about that. But I think thank you so much. We have really good music. And so we have songs we have the song Team by Lorde, which is all about being a team and girlfriends coming together and supporting each other. And so a lot of our themes are represented through the music, but one of them is about not being quiet, speaking out when you've been abused.
Nice. Well, that's fantastic, and congratulations on everything. Where is it playing in any other festivals, or where's it headed?
Okay, so we started our festival run in May. We're the Bentonville Film Fest, which is perfect for this. It was Gina Davis's female-driven fest, and I was so excited. We won the audience award there and started out with a bang, and then we were in several festivals over the summer. This month is actually National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so it was important to us to do a lot of festivals this month. So we have, after this one, I'm headed headed to Naples next week, Naples, Florida, for their fest. Then we're in Rome, Georgia. We're in Cucalouris in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then we're in Anchorage, Alaska, and Coronado Island. So yes, we have several festivals ahead.
That's fantastic. And was this your first film that you made?
This is the first film I directed that was a feature. I've written other films that have been made. I produced films and I've directed short films, but this is my feature directorial debut.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that as well. And what was the experience like going from doing all that to diving into a feature film?
Well, it was challenging in the sense that this, like a true indie, we had very little money. So it was all hands on deck all the time. So as it is with any director, you're hardly sleeping, you're slugging water bottles, you're doing craft service runs in the middle of the night while you're rewriting scripts. It was hectic, of course. We shot in 14 days in Burbank, and it was a tough shoot, actually. It was during the Burbank fires, 114-degree temperatures. We had ash raining on our set. We were shooting in non-air-conditioned buildings. It was tough. But my wonderful cast all said that it lent to their experience because they felt like the characters they were portraying wouldn't be comfortable. They didn't have it made, and they liked feeling that level of discomfort as we were shooting. So
that's such a good way to spend that, because it sounds like it would have been kind of a little trying. But yeah,
very challenging.
Yeah, that's great. And what's next for you? Do you have any other projects lined up or anything?
Yeah, I'm currently writing a TV pilot that's hopefully going to be shot in the UK. So I'm actually headed back there in a month to scout. And then I have a couple other features that are in various stages of development. The scripts are done and they're out. Some are getting financing, some are getting attachments. So I have a few things on, down the line that I'm excited to get.
Nice. Well, congratulations. And where can people find your social media presence?
Absolutely. So we're our website has all of our listings of screenings, tickets. It's MissArizonaMovie.com, and then #MissAZMovie.
Perfect. Well, I can't wait to see the film, and congratulations once again on everything, and best of luck going forward. Yep, no problem. Yep.
Thank you.
Hi, yeah. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to remember me, because I'm sure that you guys have so much going on and everything. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so since I've already interviewed you guys, why don't you go ahead and just tell us about the film again, and then I'll have some follow-up questions.
All right. It's the film's called 1,000 Miles Behind. It's about a man struggling through grief. He takes a solo motorcycle trip across California, and he tries to figure some things out.
Great. And so one question I wanted to ask, and I kind of forgot to ask at the press junket, was what are some of your guys' influences as far as filmmaking goes, and while making your first film, how did you what projects or filmmakers did you think have in mind as inspirations for you to successfully complete this one?
Anyone who's ever completed a movie. At first, definitely. He definitely had his people that really inspired him.
I'd say Kenny Lonergan. I look at movies that really changed my life. You Can Count on Me. That kind of storytelling has always really interested me and tugged at my heartstrings. And so when it came time to approach writing a script, I really kind of went for that. Just to be as honest as you can, to be as sincere as you can. I'm not trying to pull fancy tricks. It's just to communicate a heartfelt story, and do it as best as I can, But that caliber of writing is what I was aspiring to, what I always aspire to.
Nice. Well, that's as great an answer as any. Especially Kenny Lonergan. I mean, he definitely has that tapped in for emotive responses and everything. So, I'm trying to think of what all I've asked you guys already. I know, we just talked, yeah. So are you guys looking forward to the rest of the festival, and how has your experience been since last we spoke?
Experience has been amazing. We just had our second screening today. We screen tomorrow, and then we're going to be headed out tomorrow. Vanessa's headed out tomorrow morning. And then I'll be heading out, I think, on Friday to get back to LA and get back to business. But this has been a magical experience. We've loved being here.
We got to see some really cool other films and meet some other filmmakers, and everyone's just so lovely here. So it's been a really good time.
That's great. And where can people find your social media presence and everything?
At Lemoyne Street P on Twitter, and Lemoyne Street Pictures on Instagram. And there's the Lemoyne Street Pictures page on Facebook. You can find all those. Heartland has been following us and posting and retweeting. So yeah, we're pretty easy to find.
Perfect. Well, once again, congratulations on the film, you guys, and best of luck with everything going forward. Hopefully we get to chat again sometime.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great to see you guys too. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So I've spoken I've spoken about the film, 1,000 Miles Behind, and you were the stuntman. Can you introduce yourself and tell me about your association with the film?
Yeah, my name is Benjamin Forster. I'm a good friend of Nathan, the filmmaker, and the crew was such a skeleton crew on this movie that there was Nathan, the director, and then there was Jeffrey, the actor. There was the camera guy, Keith, and then Sten, who's standing right beside me, was the sound guy. So it's 4 people for most of the time. That was it. And then I was the 5th, and so I was just the guy that they told to go get everything and go get the lenses and get this out of the van and run around, and I would do the sticks and I also ride motorcycles, and so the motorcycle is such a big part of the film, and Jeffrey would do these really long days of riding, of just shooting and riding, and so at the end of the day the motorcycle would need to be transported, and I would be the guy to get on it at the end of the day and drive to the next location, which I was totally fine with because I love motorcycles. So yeah.
Nice. So what you're saying is there was no second unit or anything on this film? No.
2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. You get up at 5 in the morning. It's all natural light. We had two lights, 2 artificial lights. I can't tell you what they're called. That's not my forte. But, for people, you do a podcast?
Yeah. Oh, I should. My name is Matt. I'm from The Obsessive.
But, for people who make movies, you can... We just watched this movie on the big screen. It's a real movie, so to speak. And, we shot it in 2 weeks with 2 lights and a camera, and you can do it.
Yeah, and that's got to be such a surreal feeling, and it's got to be so rewarding to see your work showcased like that, and that's amazing, especially with such a small crew. And from the sound of it, you guys are very tight knit and everything. And it's kind of impressive that for such a small crew, it's a road movie. It's something that's not it's not like a bottle movie where you're just in a room or something. It's you're going to locations and stuff. So yeah,
it's great.
Oh yeah. So, how do you feel like this experience has I guess changed you, or is it going to influence your career going forward?
Because I'm a writer, so it was very useful in learning what's possible. So, and also what takes really long in terms of storytelling and what you can shoot quickly, and if you're in a position that you want to shoot something in 2 weeks, let's say you only have 2 weeks to shoot something, a lot of times people would think that could really limit you, but this taught me that, wow, you can actually do so much. You can shoot a whole movie. So it was really great experience.
Well, that's great, and I was telling them before, that's kind of the quintessential indie movie success story that I can see, and it's it's inspirational, and I hope that people listening that are aspiring filmmakers will want to kind of just go for it. So yeah, well, that's great, and is there anything else coming up or anything?
Talk to this guy is what you should do.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's one of the actors in the film.
Perfect. All right. Well, I will do that. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello. All right. My name is Matt from The Obsessive Viewer. I'm doing well. How are you?
Really good. Really nice to be here.
Nice. Would you mind introducing yourself and tell me about your role in the film?
Yeah, my name is Casey Wolf. I play the role of Punk Kid.
Ah, nice. Punk Kid. Nice. Sweet.
That's a real thing. Vanessa asked me, I was in class with Vanessa, who plays Tracy in the film, and she asked me to be a part of this and said, I have a role that's perfect for you, and sent it over, and you can imagine how I felt when it was, hey, this role's perfect for you, and I get it, and it's Punk Kid.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. And how's your experience been, like, on the festival circuit with the film and then being at Heartland with it?
My experience on the festival circuit is this is my first one.
Oh, nice.
This is my first one, and I'm very excited to be here. Everyone's so lovely and interesting and really kind, and it's great to be here.
Perfect. Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, and how did you prepare for the role of Punk Kid?
Well, I've been in class for a few years, and just kind of pulling inspiration and kind of figuring out like what drives this punk kid. Like, why is this guy even in the story? But, you know, kind of figuring out his whole life and what he means, and like, even though he's a punk kid, like, where does that come from? And like finding that drive, and maybe he's, instead of looking at him as a punk kid, like maybe I look at him as like a you know, a guy that's, you know, maybe a little bit misunderstood, you know.
Nice. Well, that's great. And how was your experience actually filming the role? And I know that it was a tight 2 weeks, a very tight-knit crew and everything. What was the experience like filming it?
The experience was great. You know, Nathan is an incredible director. Vanessa was super fantastic. Everybody was very warm and welcoming when I got there, and it was like a super small crew, so everyone was kind of doing everything, and it was like I heard you say earlier, it was like kind of like done Rogue style, which was like it. You know, growing up and like watching like the '90s indie films, it's like that's what it felt like. It was like the chemistry and the magic of everyone kind of like doing this like on their own, and like being a part of that was just fantastic.
That's fantastic, and that's kind of just inspirational for people that are like wanting to dive into that kind of thing. So it's really great, and yeah, congratulations on the film, and yeah, I hope you have a great rest of the festival. And yeah, do you have a social media presence or anything?
I do. My name, I'm mostly present on Instagram. That's at K.C.Wolf, WOLF.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck going forward.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Good to be here.
I can't wait to see it.
Hi, I'm Matt from the Obsessive Viewer podcast, and you're Sten Bowen from 1,000 Miles Behind?
That's right.
Perfect. Hi. And you were the composer for the film. Can you tell me about your process for composing a score for a film that is steeped in like such serious thematic elements like grief and everything?
Yeah, that was difficult to get into that mindset. But I worked on the film itself, and I got so I was with the crew, and I kind of knew what was going on. But then Nathan would send me the footage, and I would watch the footage, and I would actually, a lot of it, at first I started to notate these big scores, and it was too complicated. And what ended up happening a lot is I would just press play, watch the film, and what Nathan ended up liking the most is when I just kind of wrote it on the spot. Just simple, sparse, and tender. Like the character is so fragile, and if the music was too imposing, it would just have had a weird juxtaposition in the film.
Yeah, I can definitely say that when you have an emotionally charged film like that, the music can really be, pardon the pun, instrumental in bringing out that emotion in the audience. So, or did you have like any like takes that you wanted to do but didn't quite fit, or is there anything like that you left out?
I mean, I want to score everything. So as a composer, it's hard to give so much space, and the film has a lot of space. So there's a lot of things that I thought, even in like viewing it today, there's some scenes that I would have loved, but that would have been the music story, and you have to consider what the whole film is trying to say, and you have to be cognizant of that.
Nice. That's a really great answer. And do you have any like social media presence or anything like that? I should have asked that at the start.
Yeah, thank you. If you on Sten Bowen on Spotify or Amazon or iTunes or Bandcamp or whatever. But yeah.
Perfect. And do you? I don't know. With like independent films like that, do the scores like become like available? Is there any way that we can listen to the score separate from the film?
I think we're going to wait and have it all come out on the movie website, so it'll be available through the movie site, yeah. And then eventually, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and congrats on the film, and best of luck going forward, yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, and we are back from the red carpet interviews, or we're back from a couple minutes ago before you guys skipped ahead to the review. So, Tiny, what... I'm going to kind of not throw you under the bus, but what attracted you to seeing the Samuel Project?
It just sounded like a really great story to me. I didn't know a lot about it. Or I tried to go in a little bit, blind, not having all the information. They have a very good Facebook page, like with clips from the movie on it and stuff like that, if you look up the Samuel Project. And so I looked at a couple clips and I was like, I'm going to stop right here because I'm like really drawn in by this story and I don't want to spoil it anymore. I don't know, take it too far, I guess. So
sure.
So it just sounds like a really good story. A lot of history involved in it, and art, like artist, growing artist, coming of age artist, trying to hone his craft. Sounded like a great story, so I was in. Nice, and as because as we said before, we're kind of limited with our time with Heartland and everything. Again, I'm super glad that you and I were able to catch a movie together for Heartland and record this. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think of all the films we could have seen at Heartland this year, I'm really excited that we saw this and we're reviewing this. Specifically because I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on it, because I know that you are really into history and especially like the history as depicted in this movie, or referenced in this movie, is something that having visited like Poland and like Europe yourself, like it has a certain resonance to you,
definitely,
with your ancestry and everything. Yeah, but we should probably talk about the movie,
totally,
like and what it's about. Real quick, before I get into the plot description and everything, you can check out my interview with the filmmakers and co-stars Ryan Ochoa and Hal Linden. Hal Linden, he plays Samuel in the film. He actually was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award by Heartland this year.
Oh, sweet.
That I didn't realize was happening until after I interviewed them. So I kind of wish I could have been like, "Hey, congratulations!" But I didn't get a chance to. But anyway. My interview with them is in OV252 at the 58-minute, 10-second mark of the episode. So the plot description, according to IMDb, for the Samuel Project is Eli, an outcast teen, connects with his isolated grandfather Samuel for the first time and uncovers his surprising past when he makes his grandpa the subject of an animated art project for school. So, Tiny, in broad terms, what did you think of the Samuel Project? And, how did you feel about the film overall? Full disclosure, I did get a peek at your audience ballot, so I do know how you felt about it. But go ahead and expand on it.
They give you this little ballot that, like, it's a little piece of paper. You actually tear it to give it your rating, because not everybody has a pen on them. I think it's a really clever idea that they do.
Oh, absolutely.
They do that at Heartland every year. It's a good idea. So I give it a 5 out of 5, if that's a broad enough term for you. I really loved this movie. I'm glad I didn't look any more into what this was, or like find a true trailer or anything like that. I just kind of read a description and saw a clip, and I was like, I want to see this movie. So I'm glad I didn't seek any more information out on it, but it's really good. It's hard. It strikes such a good balance of drama and comedy. I don't want to use the term dramedy,
right? But
it's just dramatic enough and just comedic enough. It was a great balance, and the story is just a phenomenal story. It's so many elements coming together all at the same time, and it was just really well put together.
I totally agree, and I also gave it a 5 on the audience card. Just really, I was really engrossed with the film just because it, like you said, it has a great balance, and like it balances so many things, like the comedy aspect, the drama, like they didn't. It's just a really well-drawn film, because there are parts where like you'll laugh out loud, but it's not like it's in a respectful manner. Like it knows when to go for a laugh versus when to go for a dramatic moment and dramatic reveal of character, and it doesn't do that in any, like, the drama aspect of it in the kind of heart of the film is not melodramatic or overdone or anything. It's like the perfect kind of blend of drama for the story being told.
I had the exact same reaction. I'm glad you said that, because it's not a spoiler, but like one of the characters is a victim of the Holocaust in a way, and obviously that is hugely tragic and sad and everything. But the way that it's incorporated into the story, it's not like Schindler's List, where they're trying to squeeze the tears out of you and just absolutely wreck you emotionally, which that has its place, and that's an attractive way to tell a story. I'm not saying it's not, but this just told the story its own way. That's not what the filmmaker was going for.
Right.
He's not trying to shine a light on that or like trying to really drag you down. He's just it was just very real. Just a very, very real depiction of the story. It wasn't overly dramatic. It was just dramatic enough. And I thought that was a great choice.
Absolutely. And it's funny, you mentioned Schindler's List. Mark Fusco, who was the director and co-writer, I believe I interviewed him in the aforementioned clip. But it's funny because I was just going through his IMDb credits, and he has apparently in the 90s, or 97 and 98, he has 3 credits as a personal assistant to Mr. Spielberg for The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Amistad, and Saving Private Ryan.
Interesting.
Which is interesting because there's a Saving Private Ryan reference in the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing that really struck me about the movie is it's freaking gorgeous. It's the film takes place in San Diego, and first of all, just the locations they shot at and the way that they photographed San Diego is just kind of awesome in the literal sense of the term. Like it's beautifully showcases San Diego, and then there's inclusion of animation. Like we said, that the titular project is an animation project that the character of Eli is doing for a school assignment. And in addition to the animation, which is just, again, very striking, very visually striking.
Yes.
There are kind of interludes, not really interludes, but kind of transitions. Yeah, that incorporate animation into it. And it's like, that's something that can be kind of, I wouldn't say hokey, but it runs the risk of being a little showy. But the way, like, it was just subtly incorporated, like the perfect amount throughout the film, that it didn't come across that way. It was actually just very visually striking, and like a kind of, it's like a chemical was released in my brain every time I saw that, because it's like, it's very beautiful animation.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I got like, what is it, like a dopamine increase in my brain whenever I saw it. It was really cool.
Yeah, subtle's a great word. Like it's the whole movie was charmingly subtle. Nothing was overdone. There was no overacting. There was nothing that was overwritten or overproduced or too much of this, too much of that. It was just the right amount of everything. Very subtle film, and I mean that could have negative connotations. I don't mean it that way. I mean that as a compliment. Just you know, you don't need to overdo everything. Not everything has to be 100 miles an hour. And this movie took its time in the appropriate way. I appreciated the subtlety of it quite a bit.
Absolutely. And the performances from Hal Linden and Ryan Ochoa, really, really incredible, I thought. Especially Hal Linden. I think he just really gave just a very powerful performance as his character is kind of going through telling his story to his grandson, kind of reluctantly at first, and then as the bond between him and Eli grows, like there's so much to his performance that I just really latched onto, and how I wouldn't say his guard comes down, but like he takes down those kind of barriers that opens him up to telling his story and being a more integral and important part of his family's life. It's just it's a really great, powerful performance, in my opinion.
I agree. I thought it was, very, very good. And I think one of the best parts is the way he, obviously it's very satisfying to see a grandfather finally connect with his grandson.
Mm-hmm.
That's the obvious thing. But I think the way that it happened was really organic, because I think that there was a lot of hesitation between both characters early on. You think typically you'd have like a desperate grandfather, like, oh, I've never connected with my grandson,
right?
And he's like desperate for his attention or his whatever, and that wasn't it at all. I think it was a struggle. Like he's a stubborn old man, and he's kind of Eli's kind of a stubborn young man. So it was almost by happenstance that they were able to connect and become closer as characters, and that was such a great choice. Great storytelling choice to really draw you in.
Oh yeah, and it informs kind of the multi-generational story of the whole family, like because it kind of reflects a lot on there are scenes where they talk about Eli's relationship with his father and Samuel's relationship with Eli's father, and how it kind of there's a great scene where Samuel says to Eli something to the effect of, or they're talking about Eli's father, and Eli's like, well, I don't think he really notices anything, or I don't really talk to him. And then he's like, Samuel's like, that's funny, because that's the same way that I raised him, or like that's how it was when I was raising him and stuff. So it's like this cross-generational kind of thing where it's a lack of communication within the family that is kind of the central central, I guess, conflict, but it's more deep-seated than that. It's not like, oh, Dad, why aren't you paying attention to me? It's more, again, we're coming back to this word a lot. It's a more subtle approach to it.
Yes.
And a more subtle and introspective drama than it is like outward conflict. And that's something I really appreciated as a storytelling device for the film.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think it's fascinating that maybe this is just a personal thing, but I'm so interested in my family's history and like how I'm ethnically composed, I guess, like what my heritage is and stuff like that. And it's kind of fascinating that a young ethnically Jewish kid maybe doesn't go to synagogue, all that stuff, doesn't do that, but it's still part of who he is, that he's ethnically Jewish, and not that he doesn't know what the Holocaust is, but he doesn't know a lot about it. And his grandfather is a victim of it, and it's like he should know that, and he should identify with it, or it should be part of who he is and something he understands, and he should want to know more about it. And it's funny that it took to the age of 17 in this random class project for him to kind of come to that conclusion and get to it. And I was just surprised at that, because even when I was a teenager, I would have, I wanted to know that kind of stuff. And it's again, a good choice.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to some of the kind of themes of the film, or the undercurrent of the film, of being like this generation being super kind of self-involved and like very like there's a scene where the butcher comes into the dry cleaner and mentions that he says something about iPhones and everything, about his son being too preoccupied with his phone, and that's something that we talked about in my interview with them in OV252, but it's something that was present in the film that I thought was handled really well, and kind of speaks to Eli's reluctance and ignorance of his family story. And it's also important because his father didn't know the story either. And, and I like the way that it kind of slowly unfurls it. The relationship between Samuel and Eli is a slow burn as they grow closer to each other. And then also the story that he's telling, and the story that he's telling for the project, is a slow burn as well. It's introduced because just by happenstance, Samuel opens a piece of mail, and they go to the house of someone integral to his story, but we don't know the full extent of it. And then later we learn a lot more, and it's riveting, and just the use of animation is just so beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good establishing shots too.
Mhm.
Those transitions are usually of an establishing shot.
Oh yeah.
And it's just good cinematography.
It really is.
Especially for just such a dramatic,
Mhm.
straightforward story. You wouldn't
Mhm.
necessarily notice that or expect that.
Right.
And like just something as simple as when they stop for a burger, they're at a picnic table, like on a beach. Kind of, and it's just like I don't know. Like I noticed the setting.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't necessarily need to notice the setting, but they chose to have it, something a little bit unique, or like
Mhm.
that's a challenging place to film. You got the ocean noise and all that crap, and they just chose it because it looks good, and it's a nice place for a grandson
Mhm.
and a grandfather to start bonding.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's funny you reference that scene because I had almost like an identical thought to that. Just thinking that, like, I was just like kind of in awe of it. Like, wow, it's really beautiful setup and everything. And I was thinking like also, I'm always thinking about this anytime characters are eating in a film because I always think of like continuity. Like I don't nitpick continuity or anything. I didn't notice any continuity errors in that scene or anything. But like anytime a character is eating, I'm like, oh god, like that. It kind of stresses me out because I put myself in the position of someone like on the film, like thinking like, okay, like how many takes do they have to have where they have like a piece of burger in their mouth and everything. But anyway, like when I was thinking that, I was just like, this would have been such an easier scene to just do like at the dry cleaner and and like kind of just be kind of on a much smaller scale, but like they went for it with the I imagine noisy setting and with props of the food and everything. It's just a really well handled scene. And
it kind of made me think of the scene on the park bench in Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah,
obviously not extreme drama like that, or there's not that conflict there, but just the way the camera was working and stuff like that. It kind of made me think of that a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I did want to mention also that in addition to the kind of familial drama and discovery in the film, there is an undercurrent about Eli wanting to achieve his dreams, and I say that, and that sounds like it's kind of hokey, and it's not at all. Like in the film, it's very like they establish like the kind of drive that Eli has to complete this project because it's an opportunity for him to express his art and get his art showcased and everything. And then on the other hand of that is Eli's friend. Kasim. Yeah, played by Mateo Arias. He's got a similar kind of thing where he's kind of withholding his or hiding his art because his father wants to, or art being music in Kasim's case, his music talents and drive and ambition, because his father wants him to be in like working in his butcher shop. And I like that connection between Kasim and Eli as well, because they both have kind of similar stakes, although it's Eli's story. I like that they had that connection there. How'd you feel about that aspect of the story?
Absolutely. I think it was a fun contrast. I think Kasim was kind of the he's the goofy friend, to an extent. He sort of played that stereotype.
Yeah.
But really satisfying comedic relief. And then I think towards the end, there's a bit of a payoff where his character is very non-committal throughout the movie. He doesn't really want to be there. He'd rather be in metalworking or whatever.
Right.
So it's funny, but it's the payoff in the end is that I think he kind of understands how important this project was, and like how his desire to be an artist, to be a musician, can have real world applications and can still it can scratch that itch of him being a musician, and still be a way to make a living. And that was just really satisfying.
Oh, absolutely. In the kind of comic relief of the after the payoff of that, I won't give anything away, but like there's a scene he's like I really enjoyed kind of his final scene, I think, in the movie.
Mhm.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But there is another really, really great scene that I just want to kind of highlight Ryan Ochoa's performance in it. It's where he and Kasim are working on the project, and then first of all, that scene is just beautiful because, like, as someone who, granted, we just do podcasts and stuff, but like seeing like two people like working together on a creative project, and kind of that look of realization on Eli's face when he sees Kasim performing the music for the project. It's just like this really, like, you can see like the connection of like collaboration in that small scene, and I appreciated that as someone who collaborates on stuff.
Yeah, you can see the gears turning really.
Exactly.
In his head. Yeah, I picked up on it as well.
Yeah, and then the probably my favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes, because the movie was great. One of my favorite scenes is when he asks Kasim what he thinks of it, and I won't give away what he says, but the reaction that Eli has is hysterical, and it's so like it's emotionally resonant in a big way. If you do anything anything creative that you put yourself out there with,
yes,
like,
absolutely.
It was such a great scene.
Yeah.
The music in the film. I got some. I'm going to actually bring up who did the music in it, because I got such a at parts I had I got a vibe of Explosions in the Sky a little bit.
Okay.
Who they're responsible for some of the best music in movies that I've ever heard, but the music in the Samuel Project was distinctive from that. I'm not saying that like, oh, it sounds like they cribbed from that. They didn't at all. The music was done by Joey Newman.
Okay.
And like the music, it has like that kind of feel to it, that energy of like an Explosions in the Sky kind of song or music, but it's more distinctive from them because there's a lot of kind of upbeat kind of rhythms and everything throughout it as well. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight the music. It was really good.
Nice. It didn't really stand out to me that much. I'm
really?
not sure why. Not to take away from it, but
sure.
I can't. I don't know. For whatever reason, I didn't take that in as much.
Okay, sure. Kind of one of the final things I want to highlight was there was a sequence like this movie does, again, such a great job of sharing the screen, like allocating things in what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's a turn of phrase that I want to use, but I can't think of it. It has a very economic kind of use of the visual medium of film. Like there's a scene where we're hearing Samuel's voiceover telling part of the story as Eli is working on the animation for the project, as Samuel is at home reflecting on his story, and the way that all of that blends together. Like it's a sequence where we've got the voiceover with the score playing, and we've got peeks at Eli's animation and Eli working very diligently at the animation and everything, while we also have just this, I wouldn't say melancholy, but this kind of reflective and introspective shot of Samuel just thinking about it. And all of that is just a great like sequence of just blending all that together, and just it was something that just really struck me from as a filmmaking and storytelling technique in the film. I just really appreciated that sequence. Did that
nice?
That to you?
It did, yeah. It was like an anti-Rocky montage.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, because those were a bit overplayed. Not that they don't have their place, but yeah, it was like a fun kind of montage, and it was but at the same time, it had like a lot of heart, like you're saying, you know, it was emotionally resonant, and it was a significant moment in the film, and so I definitely picked up on that. I was going to bring it up myself.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely liked it. You know, it's a great piece of development as well, because I think all the characters are starting to come to realizations during that moment. You know, like I think Eli is coming to the realization that he wants to know more about his family. He's solidifying his decision to be an artist because he's good at it and he has an ability to do it, you know. And then, you know, Samuel is realizing that he needs to open up more.
Right.
I think, and he has a story to tell. So yeah, it was a very resonant moment in the film.
Yeah, and I would even go so far as to say it's kind of it's a great representation of what the film is and what the film's strengths are, because it like I said, it blends together so much, and it's kind of this I don't want to say cacophony because that has some negative connotations to it, but like it's this kind of just this blend of everything that's like you said, it's the anti-Rocky montage. It's a montage that's kind of just showcasing where each of the characters are in this very beautiful artistic way. And then you even get like a shot of Eli's father kind of realizing like, oh, this could be something like serious. And again, it's subtle. It's so straightforward and subtle and straightforward in a way that's just beautifully representative of the film as a whole and what the strengths of the film are as a whole.
Yeah, and the word montage is almost like a disservice. It's more of like a mosaic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of the themes and the influences of the film, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree. Let's see. Is there anything else that we can talk about?
I think that covers it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. The Samuel Project. Oh, this is probably going to go up. That's going to go up after the festival. But you can find the Samuel Project at Heartland Film, like their tweet.
Check out their Facebook page. Genuinely, there's like clips of the movie there, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's playing at a ton of places. They have a bunch of dates.
Oh yeah.
It's playing at a bunch of different film festivals around the country.
Nice.
There were a bunch of locations.
That's fantastic.
That it's showing, so you could probably find it near you.
Mm-hmm. And that's the Samuel Project movie on Facebook. Just check that out. It's also the SamuelProjectMovie.com. And super excited. It's okay. That was a pinned tweet. All right, so great. Anything else, Tiny? Any other movies that you're gonna try to check out?
I think I want to do Radium Girls. I want to see that one. That looks pretty interesting. And I'm gonna have to look through the brochure and pick another one or two out to see.
Yeah, nice. All right, great. Well, that'll do it for this episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Thank you once again to Tony Troxel for loaning us the equipment, and also to Heartland for giving us the press passes and letting us invade your film festival.
Yeah.
You can find more of our coverage of the Heartland Film Festival at the show notes of this episode, I guess. I don't know. I think I'm going to make a separate page just for coverage like this. But anyway, In the meantime, check us out at obsessiveviewer.com. All of our podcasts are located there. There's Obsessive Viewer Podcast, which you're listening to right now, Anthology Solo Side Project Podcast covering the Twilight Zone, and also Tower Junkies covering Stephen King and everything that he does.
Yeah.
So, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or anywhere else podcasts are found. If you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way is to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews means it'll be easier for people to find the show in the highly competitive film and TV podcast genre. It also provides us with valuable feedback on the show. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a one-time PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate or become a patron at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for recurring donations with different reward tiers. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, notebooks, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can also buy other great TeePublic designs in our store, and we'll get a small commission on the sale. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP, Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. We love to hear from you guys. You can contact us by emailing podcast@obsessiveviewer.com or by tweeting us at obsessiveviewer, at obsessivetiny, and at IamMikeWhite. You can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, where you can take part in discussions and polls between episodes. For more podcast content, check out Anthology, Matt's solo podcast, where he's reviewing The Twilight Zone as a first-time viewer and exploring other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows. You can find Anthology at anthologypod.com and anywhere podcasts are found. For book lovers, you can check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com and subscribe to the podcast on the app of your choice. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.